Hi Scorpio, thanks for watching. This is a spiritual horoscope, so please take what resonates and let go and release the rest. We'll start off with some runes and then we'll clarify with some cards. So let's jump in. What does Scorpio need to know at this time? So for your current state, oh, there's actually two. Okay, so let's take a look. You have Hagalas, and this represents a disruption. So it's almost that there's a lot of uncertainty right now, and that's the disruption that you're feeling off balanced. And you have Urus, and this represents perseverance. So the way I'll say it is that if you keep going and figure out why you're feeling off balanced, and then once you figure out why you're feeling that way, have a plan to work through it. This is where this energy can you can release yourself from it. Let's keep going. Two again. So you've got the blank slate, and you have Suelu. And so Suelu represents integrity. So the way I want to describe it here is we talked about figuring out why you're feeling off balance, and truly you have a blank slate on how you want to approach the situation and how you want to tackle it and get rid of this feeling, right? And if you approach it in a way that's truly positive, and because this, I feel like this will impact those around you in your life. So this is where going at it from a positive perspective and with integrity, I feel things will flow differently as a result of it. And you have Nauthiz, and Nauthiz represents constraint. So constraint and disruption. So this feeling will leave, but I feel as if like there's what are the words that I'm trying to explain? What's the energy? So it's almost that you'll get out of this stage, you're leaving it, and then it's almost as if you're going back into your old ways. So this is where you really need to make a conscious decision now. Okay, I want to get rid of this feeling of being in a funk, get rid of this disruption, get rid of this constraint, and really have this blank slate. But then make sure that you keep going at this blank slate, at this process to get out of this, but then ensure it doesn't happen again in the future. So this is where it really needs to be a conscious decision, so this in the future doesn't happen. This is what the universe is saying. They don't want you to be in a funk again. So if you work at it now, work at it positively, making sure that you're doing things for the right reasons. And then if you keep working at it and you keep, it's almost that you need to keep a journal every day and jot down your ideas, jot down your thoughts. And maybe it's almost as if you can make like a chart. Okay, on Monday, and even like if it's a happy face or like a frown or whatever, but chart how you feel. And once it's in black and white, it's easier to reflect on it and go back to it if you need to, if you're getting back into that feeling of being in a funk. And so this is where the universe is really saying they don't want you to get back here. So this is where this part here is so important right now, to persevere, to work through this, figure out what you want to do, start journaling how you feel, and approach things with the right intentions and with the right, for the right reasons, and then this won't happen again. Let's move on. Let's clarify some more for Scorpio. It's almost that you're holding on to some energy too, that you're in this funk, and it's almost self-imposed because you're not willing to budge on something. But this is where if you find the positive in all situations, you release some of this energy, and it feels like it's pent up energy. If you start letting go, start writing things out, and that in itself is therapeutic, because it's a process of letting go, because all these emotions that you're feeling inside, you're putting down on a paper. So you have Ingus. So the way I want to explain Ingus in this situation is invest in yourself, because you are worth it. And so the universe doesn't want you to have all these negative emotions and feeling all this pent up energy. So you have to invest in yourself, because you're so worth it. And this is where writing things out and approaching things with the right intentions is so critical right now. You've got Kanas. And so this is where the opening, once you open the door and start letting go and releasing this energy, this blank slate, it's almost that your options get even more broader. You have more options because you start seeing things differently. You're approaching things from a positive fashion instead of like so negative and disgruntled. So if you change this energy, like I almost want to like throw this away, because that's not what you'll be facing in the future. But you really need to put in the time. And this is where Uruz is coming in for the perseverance. All right, there's two. Okay, so you have Sewelu again. So you do have to invest in yourself. You do have to figure out what you want. And you've got Ansus, and that represents looking for signs. So we talked about the universe, that they don't want you to have all these negative emotions. And this is where opening yourself up to the universe and asking, hey, give me a sign that I'm on the right track. And even with your journaling, if you write down a question in your journal and the first thought that comes to your head, the first word that comes to your head after you've written it down, it's the universe trying to give you a message. So writing it out, you can then go back to it later to see if you're on the right track. And so this is where journaling and finding a way to get rid of this negativity that's here. And I feel it'll take a lot of doing, but don't get discouraged, because remember, you are worth it. But letting in that positivity, it's like a whole wave washes over you and things just start rolling differently and the new opportunities come in. But you do need to invest in yourself. Let's go to some cards now. Whoa. So purification, that just jumped out. So we talked about investing in yourself because you're worth it, and it'll be a process. But look, in the end, it's a beautiful sunflower and a whole field of them at that. So this is where investing in yourself and taking the time, like the flower doesn't come overnight, but if you put in the work, you'll shine at the end. But right now, like it looks like there's rain. And this is where that kind of like that feeling that you're in right now is that rain and all that kind of crappy weather, but you'll weather it. And by the end, it's beautiful, but you need to, like the expression, April showers brings May flowers. So this is where you're in that transition phase, but you need to make that conscious effort. And you have taking risks. Invest in yourself. Try something new. And believe me, you'll soar, but you've got to put in the work, because the universe wants to help you. They want to get you out of this funk, but you've got to put in the work, because it's not just going to happen overnight, and it's not going to happen if you don't put in the work. And this is where they're giving you the warning that if you don't put in the work, you'll be in this state again in the future. But if you put in the work and you're making those efforts because you're so worth it, this goes away and you're soaring, you're shining. And we talked about the perspective. Things look differently. And look, once you're up in this feeling of such happiness, your perspective changes and you're not stuck in all this negativity, right? But this is where I'll keep saying it again, you're so worth it, but you need to invest in yourself and finding ways to be happy. And you've got courage. So this is where, like right now, look at the water. Like you're going up against the rocks. There is all these turbulence. But if you start working through it, having the courage to get through it with all this constraint and disruption, through the perseverance, you'll get through it. And you've got solitude. So we talked about journaling and how that's therapeutic and taking some time out. And the solitude can also be like taking those quiet moments to connect with the universe, because we talked about looking for signs that you're on the right track. And this is where Ansu's is coming in. And this card is showing us too. So let's pull one more. What does Scorpio need to know? And you've got protection. So what I want to say here about protection is being confident with your decisions that you're making. With this blank slate and these opportunities that are coming in, be confident with your decision making. And we also talked about investing in yourself, and look, you're this beautiful flower. But here, if you're investing in yourself, you grow stronger, and all this work in terms of trying to look at things positively, not going backwards, it becomes like a muscle. The more you do it, the easier and stronger it gets. And look, at the end, there's a tree. So that's how strong you become, but you really need to do the work right now. And I know it's not what you want to hear, like, oh crap, there's work to do. But remember, you're worth it, and it can be baby steps. Every day you can take, it can be something little that, okay, I'll do something tiny that day, and then you repeat it the next day. Well, look, that's a huge positive, right? Because at least you're making that conscious effort. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have a drastic change and do everything in one day, because that's not sustainable. But if you slowly work at it, it won't feel like homework the same way, and it won't feel as daunting. But this is where it's those little changes every single day will then amount to something big in the end. Because look at the process for a tree and a flower. It's in itself a whole process. It takes weeks and months and years. So this is where it's all the process that you're having to go through, but opening yourself up to the universe, asking for signs that you're in the right direction, and making those little changes every day. In the end, you've got so many opportunities. You need to take the risks, have courage, have confidence with your decision making, and in the end, you'll shine, you'll soar. All right, this is what I have for you at this time. I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.